The film begins with a young boy named Vassili Zaitsev, under the guidance of his grandfather, learning the art of hunting. Employing a strategic approach, they use a horse as bait, while Vassili is taught to remain as motionless as a stone to avoid detection by a wolf. When the wolf charges towards the horse, Vassili, now frightened, musters his courage and obediently pulls the trigger. Unaware of the significance of this moment, the young boy could never have foreseen how it would shape his future. The scene then shifts to 1942, amidst the turmoil of World War II. The Nazis have conquered Europe and are advancing towards the oil-rich lands of Asia through the Soviet Union. However, they encounter a formidable obstacle in the form of Stalingrad, defended by the soldiers of the Russian Red Army. As the battle intensifies within the city, a reinforcement contingent is dispatched to assist the Red Army. Among them is Vassili, now a skilled sniper. He keenly observes the displacement of civilians to make way for more soldiers. After a short journey, they reach the city and are transported by boats to the front lines. The dire state of the battlefield reveals the Nazis' overwhelming superiority, and the reinforcements find themselves on a seemingly suicidal mission. Some soldiers attempt to flee but are mercilessly gunned down by their own comrades for desertion. Taking advantage of the chaos, the Germans unleash a barrage of gunfire, injuring many of their unsuspecting enemies before they even have a chance to fight back. Upon reaching the dock, the surviving soldiers are quickly paired up, with only one of each pair receiving a rifle. Vassili is assigned just a few bullets and ordered to join the battle. Separated from his partner almost immediately, his survival depends on staying low and evading detection. Witnessing the grim odds, a few soldiers make desperate attempts to escape, but are tragically killed by their own side. The battleground swiftly becomes littered with the lifeless bodies of Russian soldiers. In a grim twist, a car enters the scene but is promptly destroyed by a tank. Commissioner Danilov of the Russian army manages to escape the wreckage and hides among the corpses, feigning death. He holds his breath as the Germans approach, systematically shooting any surviving soldiers. Danilov manages to survive the ordeal and waits until the enemy is out of sight before retrieving a rifle from a fallen soldier nearby. Discovering the rifle lacks ammunition, he encounters Vassili, who had also been pretending to be dead. Vassili selflessly hands over his own ammunition to the commissioner, urging him to fire when an explosion occurs to avoid detection. However, Danilov hesitates due to his limited skills and passes the rifle back to Vassili. Just as another car arrives and an explosion reverberates, Vassili surprises the commissioner with his exceptional marksmanship, swiftly eliminating all enemy snipers. Impressed by Vassili's skill, Danilov later spreads the word about his accomplishment by printing pamphlets. The high-ranking officials of the Red Army recognize that their defenses are weak due to soldiers' reluctance to sacrifice their lives for the country. This weakness is causing the Soviet forces to falter. Chairman Nikita Khrushchev intervenes to restructure the defense system and seeks innovative ideas from his subordinates. However, he receives only the same tired strategies until Danilov proposes an alternative: to inspire hope by presenting a heroic figure who will motivate everyone to protect their motherland. Intrigued, Khrushchev asks if Danilov himself can fulfill this role. Danilov recommends Vassili instead and gains permission to publish his heroic tales in the military newspaper. Subsequently, Vassili's exceptional skills are acknowledged, and he is transferred to the sniper division. Word of his heroic deeds spreads throughout the country, making Vassili the face of the Russian army and a propaganda symbol. The toll on the Germans becomes so significant that they deploy Major Erwin Koenig, a renowned marksman and head of an army sniper school in Germany, to eliminate Vassili. During one mission, Vassili encounters a young boy named Sasha, an admirer of his like many others. Sasha invites Vassili to his home, where Danilov presents him with fan letters to respond to. Shortly after, a woman named Tanya, a soldier from the local militia and a close family friend of the Filipovs, arrives. Vassili hopes that Tanya remembers him from their encounter on the train to Stalingrad, but he is disappointed to find that she only recognizes him as a war hero. As the group converses, it becomes apparent that both Danilov and Vassili are attracted to Tanya. Danilov even offers her a position in the headquarters to decipher German codes after learning of her fluency in the language. Initially hesitant, Tanya accepts the job upon realizing the number of soldiers she can save by doing so. The following day, Vassili is assigned to eliminate an enemy sniper, causing havoc for the Soviet army from a former department store. Upon arriving, he spots a shadow near a window and successfully eliminates the target. Brimming with confidence, he and his comrade Ludmila enter the building to investigate, only to realize they have fallen into a trap. Vassili discovers a cigarette butt, indicating that the enemy sniper is still present. Suddenly, planes swoop overhead, bombing the surrounding buildings and causing Ludmila to panic. Despite Vassili's attempts to calm her down, she impulsively flees and becomes an easy target for Koenig, who swiftly kills her. In the subsequent scene, Koenig returns to his hideout, where Sasha cleans his shoes in exchange for information about Vassili. Upon learning of Koenig's purpose, the Red Army recruits Kulikov, Koenig's former student, to aid Vassili. Vassili, Kulikov, and Volodya, a member of the sniper team, take refuge in an abandoned building with a staged body, intended to deceive the enemy sniper. Believing they are on the right track, they cautiously move to another area. The enemy opens fire, but they miraculously reach safety without getting hit. After marking 2 enemies, they prepare to have dinner. Volodya goes to retrieve the soup he left in another room, but is captured by the enemy in the process. When Volodya refuses to disclose Vassili's whereabouts, he is dressed in a German uniform and sent as a disguised repairman. Without hesitation, Kulikov shoots him, inadvertently revealing their location. He proceeds to lift a helmet as a diversion, tempting Koenig to shoot and expose his position. Nevertheless, Koenig suspects their ploy and avoids falling into the trap, prompting them to swiftly relocate. During their hasty move to a new location, Koenig fatally shoots Kulikov, diminishing Vassili's morale. Despite the numerous casualties, Khrushchev continues to pressure Danilov to persist with the sniper duel. Additionally, Tanya implores him to transfer her back to the militia. Upon Vassili's disheartened return, Danilov assures him that they will gather more intelligence on Koenig and asks him to persuade Tanya to stay at headquarters. Following the request, Vassili attempts to convince her and discovers that her parents were among the prisoners executed by the Germans, which fuels her desire to join the militia and fight. Understanding her motivations, Vassili supports her decision and provides her with Kulikov's rifle. At their hideout, Koenig once again has his shoe cleaned by Sasha, while inquiring about Vassili's whereabouts. The next day, he waits for Vassili at the location Sasha provided, eagerly anticipating his arrival. After a while, Vassili and his comrades stealthily navigate through the pipes, alerting Koenig to their presence. As they emerge from the pipe, Koenig swiftly takes aim, causing Vassili to drop his rifle and seek cover behind a rock. Due to his injured hand, Vassili orders his comrade to return to headquarters. Tanya and Danilov become aware of the situation upon his return, and without hesitation, Tanya goes to rescue Vassili. At the pipe's exit, Vassili relentlessly attempts to retrieve his weapon using a knife and rope, but Koenig denies him any opportunity. Suddenly, a bombing shakes the entire building, causing shards of glass to scatter everywhere, granting Koenig a clear view of Vassili. Subsequently, Tanya enters through the pipe, but Vassili instructs her to remain back. He shows her Koenig's location on a piece of glass, through which they are being observed, and instructs her to reflect light using another shard of glass. Tanya effectively executes her task, momentarily blinding the enemy. Vassili seizes the opportunity, retrieves his weapon, and manages to shoot Koenig's hand before both parties retreat. Later that evening, Vassili and Tanya celebrate their small victory with their comrades. The following day, Vassili informs Danilov that he wishes to serve as a regular soldier, feeling burdened by both Koenig and the title of war hero. Danilov refuses to accept it and manipulates Vassili by revealing his role as a double agent through Sasha. With the information obtained from the boy, they now know Koenig's exact location, and Vassili is assigned one final mission. In the subsequent scene, we witness him camouflaging himself among the lifeless bodies on the ground, reminiscent of the skills his grandfather taught him. Memories of the day he learned to hunt flash before his eyes as he patiently awaits Koenig. Eventually, exhaustion overcomes him, and his sniper log is stolen by a looting German soldier. The German command seizes the log as evidence of Vassili's demise and plans to send Koenig back home, as it would benefit Soviet propaganda if he were to be killed. Despite this, Koenig remains completely certain that Vassili is still alive. Shortly thereafter, the headquarters announces Vassili's death through loudspeakers, throwing the troops into chaos. Meanwhile, in an attempt to capture Vassili, Koenig informs Sasha of his next location, believing that the boy will undoubtedly relay the information to the enemy. Elsewhere, with no indication of Vassili's return, Danilov begins writing an announcement of his death when the protagonist surprises everyone by appearing out of nowhere. Vassili soon learns from Sasha that Tanya went to the station to attempt to kill Koenig on her own. In a hurry, Vassili and Danilov rush to rescue her and fortunately find her unharmed. Delighted to see Vassili alive, Tanya impulsively kisses him, triggering feelings of jealousy in Danilov. Neglecting his responsibilities towards his troops, Danilov returns to headquarters and writes that Vassili has become a traitor. Meanwhile, Koenig, now confident in his suspicions, kills Sasha and hangs him, ensuring Vassili and Tanya bear witness to the tragic sight. Angered by Sasha's death, Tanya desires vengeance, but Vassili vows to kill Koenig on her behalf and sends her to evacuate Sasha's mother. Danilov and Tanya struggle with how to break the news to Mrs. Filippov, so they fabricate a story that Sasha has joined the Germans. Holding on to hope, she believes her son is still safe and decides to escape using the special pass provided by Danilov. While attempting to board a boat, an explosion occurs, injuring Tanya and causing her to lose consciousness. The doctor predicts she won't survive and denies her access to the boat. However, Mrs. Filippov convinces the personnel that Tanya is her daughter and presents them with the pass, persuading them to allow her to board. Elsewhere, an oblivious Danilov encounters Vassili and shares the tragic news of Tanya's death, burdening himself with guilt. Overwhelmed by remorse, he blames himself and decides to give up on life by exposing himself to Koenig. The sniper wastes no time and shoots him, unwittingly revealing his own position. In a surprising twist, Koenig cautiously approaches, anticipating victory, only to be met with shock when he sees Vassili waiting for him. Accepting his fate, Koenig allows Vassili to shoot him, and he perishes during the encounter. Once the chaos subsides, Vassili retrieves his rifle and places it beside Danilov's lifeless body as a sign of respect. 2 months later, with Stalingrad liberated from the Germans, Vassili receives a letter from Tanya, stating that she is recovering at a field hospital. Eager to reunite with her, he visits the address provided in the letter, and the movie concludes with a heartfelt reunion between the two.